چه بابا جنجا مومنتال جرمانی دیت ابو هیچ موهایدی تکا بابا هیچ رینیش اجید نکا یا جی ابو یا رابط اجید اوف
Situation in Germany right now.
Sowas habe ich noch nie erlebt. Das ist hier weg. Wo? Da hinten, ne? Ach, da steht ja auch noch ein. Da. Ach, seins ist auch kaputt. Aber Klaus meint,
يا عم يا ابو النور فرج يا عم يا ابو النور نطلع نهرب من البيت احسن شيء وديته هو ومرته هذا نزل هو ومرته العمى راح العمى شو حمار
He had to spend the night on his roof, and he would love to help answer more questions from me, but he was just too tired to. I spoke to another woman, and she was in absolute tears. She'd managed to just save a few of her belongings from her house. She'd wrapped them up and was carrying them in a bed sheet. And she was waiting for her mum to come collect her from the nearby city of Bonn. So people are absolutely exhausted. They're all still in shock. They've seen their complete homes and their livelihoods just be completely covered up with mud, and in the space of just one night of heavy rainfall.
Warned towns that a flood was coming. But in Walporzheim, in West Germany's Rhineland-Palatinate, residents say they had almost no time to react before their homes were hit by raging floodwaters.
Stadt and Ahrweiler, near the border with the Netherlands and Belgium. More than 130 people have been confirmed dead and more than 1,000 are still missing. President Frank-Walter Steinmeier has promised support for victims' families and to the damaged towns.
This torrent, filmed on Wednesday, used to be a stream. It's a sight few would have thought possible in Western Germany. But what comes next is even harder to take in. A house, adrift. In many places, the waters are starting to recede and clean-up operations have begun. But the floods have left a trail of devastation and residents in shock. As I said, that was my apartment. I'm trying not to think about it, but it's really dreadful. And it's not just property that has been destroyed. Emergency workers are warning that as they comb through the wreckage, more bodies could be discovered. Many people are still stunned at the speed at which the water suddenly rose. It happened so fast. We watched the water rise, an insane current. We saw two people clinging to those columns over there. We shouted from above, "Hold on!" It took 3 hours for them to be rescued. Some spoke of the trauma of having to escape before the water rushed into their houses. We weren't given any warning here. I had between 10 and 15 minutes. As I left my apartment, the water was up to here. Many communities are still without power and water. It's feared the damage could run into billions of euros. People say they have no choice other than to start picking up the pieces. But it's obvious that it will take a long time before anything can get back to normal here.
The floodwaters are starting to recede across much of the worst affected regions of Western Europe, allowing residents to return and assess the damage, with clean-up operations now underway. Germany has suffered the highest death toll, and hundreds of people remain unaccounted for after devastating flash floods destroyed homes, cars, roads and bridges.
You don't expect people to die in a flood in Germany. You expect it maybe in poor countries, but you don't expect it here. But it was all too fast, too quick.
Emergency services, aided by the military, continue their desperate search for survivors, with fears that more bodies may be found in the cars and trucks that were swept away in the flash floods. Emergency relief supplies and other donations are starting to arrive, with hundreds of volunteers working round the clock in the town of Neuerberg to get help to those most in need.
If you wanted to see something positive about this whole catastrophe, then it's this wave of readiness to help. I think that's great.
Search efforts are also continuing in Belgium, where the death toll continues to rise. King Philippe and Queen Matilda visited Pepinster, near Liège, the country's worst affected region. The royal couple offered comfort to one local resident who was visibly upset at the damage done to the cafe she owned. Some of the worst flooding is now centred on the Netherlands, where thousands of people were forced to leave their homes on Friday as rising waters burst a dike and swollen rivers flooded low-lying towns. Switzerland is the latest country to be hit by these exceptional rainstorms, with serious flooding reported as several lakes and rivers started to overflow. As clean-up operations get underway, there are questions over the lack of advance warnings. The debate is also growing over the need for more urgent action on climate change to prevent such catastrophes from becoming more common. Michael Voss, CGTN.
With water reaching their waists, these soldiers have a difficult mission. Opening car doors and inspecting each vehicle, looking for those who may not have had time to escape before the floods hit. The army has mobilized all of its resources to clear this motorway, where the current caused some vehicles to pile up on top of one another. Soldiers have been extracting them one by one.
Es sind 28 Fahrzeuge gemeldet worden, die unter Wasser liegen sollen oder sollten. Mittlerweile ist es etwas zurückgegangen. Wir haben noch keine Erkenntnisse, ob da Personen eventuell noch drin sind. Wir hoffen, dass wir alle geschafft haben.
In Germany, the toll of the floods is increasing by the hour. In this region, the atmosphere is grim. At the end of the road, rescue workers are giving a resident terrible news. They found the lifeless body of one of her relatives in the garage. It's a tragedy for the family and the trauma of a nation. In the German press, dozens of faces of the missing are being published, and for many, it's just too much to handle.
There's so many people dead.
In some cities, there have been massive displays of solidarity, with hundreds of donations pouring in.